It's Saturday the 3rd of September, it's just gone 6 o'clock, and welcome to the 6 o'clock news, coming to you live from the heart of Wyke, Regis. And in the news this week, all of England's southwest region is now officially in drought. Bristol, Somerset, Dorset, South Gloucestershire and parts of Wiltshire have now been moved into drought status. Public businesses in drought-affected areas are urged to use water sparingly as the dry summer impacts the environment. The Environment Agency has agreed that all of the southwest of England is now in drought, following some of the driest conditions in nearly 90 years. Bristol, Somerset, Dorset, South Gloucestershire and parts of Wiltshire, referred to in the Environment Agency as the Wessex area, have all now moved into drought status. Earlier this month, of course, Devon, Cornwall and the Isles of Scilly were also declared as in a drought. The triggers used to confirm the move to drought status for all areas include the hydrological position, that's the rainfall, the river flows, the groundwater levels, reservoir levels and the dryness of soils, as well as the impacts these conditions have on the environment and abstractions. While the area has had some rainfall in the last 2 weeks, this has not been sufficient to compensate for the long dry period in recent months. But by waiting until now to declare drought, it has given the response team time to consider the effects of that rainfall. This change in status to drought is a change in categorisation, indicating the impact of prolonged dry weather is having primarily on the environment and in addition, of course, on water resources. Essential water supplies are safe, the DEFRA informs us, and the Environment Agency are urging water companies to continue with their precautionary planning to protect essential supplies in the event of a dry autumn. Now, we'll have the weather forecast in a while, and I think we might be in for some rain, but whether it's going to be enough to make a difference, we'll have to wait and see. Action being taken across the area includes additional monitoring of the effects of the dry weather on rivers and responding to environmental emergencies, such as rescuing stranded fish wherever possible. They'll also be ensuring that people and companies who have water abstraction licences only operate within the terms of their licences and take legal action against those who fail to comply with the current restrictions. Now, Dorset Council has announced its list of temporary road closures in connection with next Saturday, the 10th of September's AJ Bell Tour of Britain. That's the stage 7 of the Tour of Britain cycle race that comes through the area next Saturday. Now, to facilitate the race, which travels from West Bay to Ferndown on the 10th of September, a rolling road closure will be in place along most of the stage of the route. This means roads on and around the race route will be closed for traffic by police escort vehicles just ahead of the race, and probably will only be closed for about 30 minutes so that the race can pass safely. However, to make the route safe for public and competitors, there are some areas that have been identified for longer closures and won't just have the rolling closure. And now in the west of the county, this mainly affects the West Bay area, which is the start of the race, along the Esplanade and Quayside. That will be closed from 4 AM in the morning through to 1 PM. The North Side Basin and also road closures in the West Bay Road, Car Park and Marsh Barn Road from 9:30 to 11:30. There will also be a closure of the Coast Road from Fleet to Bridport, the B3157 from 10:30 to 12:30. And the other area really around our side of things that will be closed for more than the rolling road closure is several roads in the Dorset area around the Morbury Rings area. Whilst those closures are in place, access to Dorchester will be by the A35 Monkey Jump roundabout, and there will be restricted access to the town centre. So just be aware of that. As it comes through the outskirts of Weymouth, through Abbotsbury and Chickerell and through Weymouth, it will just be affected by the rolling road closures. This is going to be one of the biggest events that's hit the area. It will bring lots of TV crews, etc. through to the area, and you'll be able to watch it live on TV, as well as if you want to line the race route, obviously parking and standing safely and following any directions that you might be given. Now, landlords are being encouraged to work with Dorset Council to give families a stable home, improve the quality of properties and benefit by having access to a dedicated service. There's a high demand for available homes from families in the council area, and landlords who sign up and commit to making their property safe and good quality can get specialist advice and discounts on some services as well. The Landlord Local Area Authority Partnerships, also called the LLAP, recognises responsible landlords who manage good quality accommodation and maintain their properties to a good standard. The partnership is free to join, and landlords can benefit from training, regular information updates including advice on statutory responsibilities, changing laws and guidance. It can also lead to a 10% reduction in some fees, including licences for HMOs, that's houses of multiple occupancy. Landlords will also benefit by having a trained team of staff to answer questions and queries specific to their needs, as well as a dedicated newsletter. Further advice on this, you can visit the Dorset Council website and search for Advice for Landlords. So that's Dorset Council website and search for Advice for Landlords. Now this week, let's get the right picture up. This week, Dorset Fire Station and its staff have been undergoing a training exercise in the new multi-storey car park at Dorset County Hospital. The fire service says that the exercise will allow them and their colleagues from Bridport Fire Station, Maiden Newton Fire Station and Fire Control to test their procedures and skills with regards to the new multi-storey building. So if you noticed a lot of activity in the week, lots of fire engines and smoke in the vicinity of the new multi-storey car park, it was just a large exercise, and we will return to more about the multi-storey car park a little later in the programme. Now, an annual memorial service to remember loved ones is being held in the beautiful grounds of Weymouth Crematorium, and the event will start at 2 o'clock on Sunday the 25th of September. This year the service will be a celebration picnic with a multi-faith celebrant who will lead the proceedings. There will be music and refreshments provided by the Salvation Army and an opportunity to light a candle in memory of loved ones. Councillor Laura Bedder, who's Dorset Council portfolio holder for Culture, Communities and Customer Service, said the annual memorial service is a lovely way to celebrate the lives of loved ones that we've lost. This year it will be extra special in the beautiful gardens at the crematorium. The event is free and there is no need to book. We just want people to come, remember and have a pleasant Sunday afternoon. People are asked to bring chairs or blankets to sit on, and in case of rain there will be some cover provided. Now, the Department of Transport have announced this week that they will be introducing a £2 bus fare cap across England to save passengers money early in 2023. People could save more than £3 per single bus ticket with the help of these cost saving measures that the Department of Trade are putting in place, and this will help with the cost of living pressures that we are expecting over the winter period. The £2 bus fare cap on almost every single journey across England will save people on average 30% on their average bus fares, helping millions with travel costs for work and essential journeys. Government is providing up to £60 million over 3 months to subsidise operators' costs and incentivise greener travel for communities. Millions across England will save money through the new £2 cap on single bus journeys from January through to March next year, that's 2023, backed up by the £60 million to ensure affordable transport across the country. The Transport Secretary has today, that was on the 3rd of September today, announced the government will provide up to £60 million to help the operators fund this scheme. The move will help passengers with travel costs for work, education, shopping and medical treatments over the winter months while they are facing pressures from the rising cost of living. Bus fares vary across different parts of the country and between bus operators and can even reach almost £6 for a single journey in some rural areas. So the new cap means passengers in those areas could save more than £60 a month if they took 4 single trips a week. The average single fare for a 3-mile journey is estimated at around £2.80, and the new fare will save passengers almost 30% on that average fare. The funding to keep fares down follows the government's announcement of £130 million last month to protect vital routes and services across the country, which those on lower incomes particularly rely on. So that's buses. Now turning to Portland Port. Portland Port is investing £26 million in a massive new deep water berth development so it can welcome even bigger ships. The improvement project, described as the port's most ambitious to date and the largest investment it has ever undertaken, now has all the necessary permissions. Companies, including some local firms, have been appointed to carry out the work, which is set to begin in October, with the project aiming to be completed by May the 1st next year. The construction of a new berth and the extension of an existing structure will mean deeper drafted and longer ships can be accommodated, or 2 huge cruise ships could be docked alongside at the same time. This year, actually, just thinking of some of the figures I saw recently, I think there's 75 cruise ships calling at Portland over the summer period. The port has said that it needs to be able to cope with the ever-increasing size of modern vessels, especially cruise liners. Ian McQuaid, who's Portland Port's commercial general manager, said this development will provide a major and significant enhancement to the port's capabilities. The new facilities will enable Portland Port to keep pace with the increasing demands from our existing cruise and cargo customers, while offering the opportunity for future growth. The size of vessels calling at Portland over the last number of years has continued to grow, and this investment will enable our business to keep ahead of this trend. The development will see the existing deep water berth removed and replaced with a new extended berth. In addition, the works will deliver a 74-metre extension to the solid quay face of the current primary cruise berth, known as the Outer Coaling Pier. Well, there we go. An exhibition of prints from hand-coloured engravings opens at Dorset Wildlife Trust's Wild Sea Centre at Kimmeridge from today. And it runs through to Sunday the 2nd of October. High and Dry, the almost forgotten world of late Georgian and early Victorian artists and engravers, will showcase artworks by anonymous artists and hand colourists from that period, which appeared in the first edition of the Naturalist Library by Sir William Jardine, the Scottish naturalist. Images from the book, which has belonged to the same family since it was originally published in 1840, were digitally restored during the recent lockdowns. The exhibition has been organised by Dorset Wildlife Trust volunteer Nicholas Aldridge, who is also restoring the artwork, and says images from these books were created by some of the best known naturalist artists of the time, including James Stewart and Edward Lear, pioneers in their fields. The pictures were engraved by William Lizars, who was arguably the best engraver in Britain, and then hand-coloured by an anonymous platoon of watercolourists. Julie Hatcher, who's the Marine Awareness Officer at the Wild Sea Centre in Kimmeridge, said this exhibition is unlike anything we've hosted before. Kimmeridge is a good place for this exhibition because the famous Clavell Tower was built around the same time that the Naturalist Library was published. Sir William Jardine also spent time in Dorset and stayed in Weymouth, where he hunted for fossils on the nearby coastline. The exhibition will also feature works from Nicholas Aldridge's Jurassic Coast series, including black and white prints and some striking colour works. The Wild Sea Centre at Kimmeridge is open 7 days a week from 11 in the morning to 4 p.m. And for more details, you can go on to the Dorset Wildlife website at dorsetwildlifetrust.org.uk/events. Now, temporary timetables for the West of England line are coming in from Monday the 5th of September. South Western Railways have introduced a temporary reduced timetable for the West of England line from Monday the 5th. And this is due to the fact that some of the rails have subsided because of the dry weather and movements of Earth. And the revised timetable will enable South West Railways to operate a resilient service for customers after the emergency speed restrictions were put in place between Gillingham in Dorset and Tisbury in Wiltshire by Network Rail engineers. The extremely hot and dry weather experienced recently has caused the clay embankments to dry out and shrink, leaving the track on top uneven and trains unable to travel at full speed. So that those restrictions will be in place until such times that engineering works can be make sure that is rectified. And finally, in our headlines tonight, a sailor who restored a 100-year-old steamship has been recognised with an achievement award, and you can see the fantastic steamship actually on the screen now. Whilst not a local story for us, I think our link with the sea and lots of current and former merchant seamen being based locally, I thought this was a good story to share. And I only came across this late today, and I'm going to try and see if I can get some video footage of this fantastic steamship for a later programme and tell you more about it. Now, a skipper from Liverpool who's put his life's work into restoring a historic steamship, and a sailor who has dedicated her work to advocating for women's rights are among those to be awarded the Merchant Navy medals in honour of their achievements, and those have been awarded today, Saturday the 3rd of September. Merchant Navy medals have been awarded since 2016 for significant contributions to maritime industry. Each year, seafarers are nominated by their colleagues, friends and family for the medals, the highest medal of honour within the maritime sector. This year, 14 mariners have been awarded the Merchant Navy medals, including Captain Dan Cross from Liverpool and Master Mariner Anne Pleshdick from Hampshire. Captain Dan Cross has received the prestigious Merchant Navy medal for his efforts in restoring the iconic SS Daniel Adamson, which first set sail in 1903. Through Dan's restoration efforts, he has supported young people from all backgrounds and abilities to learn, participate and eventually volunteer as part of the ship's crew and go on to lead careers in engineering across the maritime sector. And talking about Master Mariner Anne, she has championed the rights of women and underprivileged individuals in the industry. She has also supported future Commonwealth seafarers, including disadvantaged children, in obtaining a maritime education, even paying the educational fees for the first ever marine engineering officer to hail from Mauritius. Now, Maritime Minister Robert Courts has said it's an honour to celebrate British mariners like Anne and Dan, whose efforts have changed maritime for the better. Every single nominee embodies the values of the maritime sector and has gone above and beyond within their field. We're grateful to all 14 recipients for their efforts to make the industry better, safer and more accessible for all. And we will try to find out more about this steamship and tell you more about that in the future. Maybe we might find out who those other nominees are out of the 14, and maybe there are some more local to us that we can tell you about in a future week. Now, that's the end of the headlines in tonight's programme. Now, this week, starting from Monday the 5th of September and running to next Sunday the 11th, it is UK Air Ambulance Week. The National Awareness Week, or National Air Ambulance Week, there's the logo for it, we'll see Dorset and Somerset Air Ambulance join other air ambulance charities around the country in a campaign called Critical Moments, Life-Saving Difference. The campaign highlights how air ambulance charities make a life-saving difference in critical moments by rapidly developing advanced pre-hospital care directly to the side of patients when suffering a life-threatening injury or illness. Last year, Dorset and Somerset's Air Ambulance was tasked to 2,231 incidents. Their critical care team also provided 36 time-critical inter-hospital transfers and administered blood products to 41 patients, drastically improving their chances of getting to hospital alive. With no direct government or national lottery funding, they rely on the generosity of the public to help raise their operational costs of over £5 million a year, with every mission costing approximately £3,000. So let's just start by looking at some of the work of our air ambulances across the country.
Grid reference Tango Foxtrot 889092, 40-year-old male, cardiac arrest.
Helimed 65, you should be approaching the scene now.
I've got a visual, 10 o'clock low, in the park next to the main road.
life was saved today when one of the UK's air ambulance crews acted in a critical moment to make a life-saving difference.
I am eternally grateful to the Air Ambulance for what they do for me and what they've done for others.
Helium 60 returning to base.
So, as we say, it's Air Ambulance Week this week from Monday through to next Sunday. During Air Ambulance Week, Dorset Somerset Air Ambulance is asking the public to donate £5 in support of their life-saving work. This can be done online. This can be done via a mobile phone by texting DSAA to 70085. That's DSAA 70085. We will put this information up on our Facebook page over the weekend. Text costs £5 plus one standard rate message. Alternatively, you can donate online on the website at www.dsairambulance.org.uk. The charity will also be using the week to raise awareness of their work via their social media channels by sharing some inspiring patient stories and messages from their critical care team who help to save lives every day. So remember, the Air Ambulance is there for every single one of us, and we never know when we might need it. It's totally funded by charitable donations, and hopefully you can spare at least £5 sometime this week to support the fantastic work that Dorset and Somerset Air Ambulance do. We will be sharing stuff on our Facebook page and Twitter this week. Do follow it and do support their work if you are able. Now, our second thing this week. Earlier in the programme, we mentioned about the new multi-storey car park at Dorset Hospital. And as it happens, I was at Dorset Hospital at the start of this week. And just by chance, I took some film of the externals of the multi-storey car park. And then actually, while I was sat in the hospital at an appointment, I was on Facebook and I noticed lots of people putting questions up about the car park. How's it going to work? Am I going to have to pay if I drop people off and all that sort of thing? So actually, I thought it would be very useful to pull together just a little report on the new multi-storey car park at Dorset Hospital, because lots of us will be going to the hospital at Dorchester, and we'll all be wondering how we can park at the hospital and how it's going to work. So I thought I would share that with you this evening, so we all know what to do in the future when visiting Dorset Hospital. We mentioned earlier in the programme that Dorset County Hospital's car park has been used by the local fire brigade for an exercise. Construction is now finished and it's nearing opening. The car park is now in use but only for staff, easing parking pressure on the rest of the site for hospital visitors and patients. It will be open to the public as soon as parking machines, barriers and other minor technical issues are completed. The new system will allow patients and visitors to pay on exit and only being charged for the time they've actually parked. The system also gives more options to pay, with payment machines taking coins, notes and credit and debit cards. The building is well laid out with gentle and wide slopes, a lack of pillars and better than average sized parking bays. They're all clearly marked out and there is plenty of CCTV for security. The car park seems to have been positively welcomed by staff, but local residents still wait to see how much traffic noise it will produce, particularly at night time. The hospital and car park construction team, Wilmot Dixon, have already responded to neighbours' concerns about rooftop lighting, and this has been turned off for the last few weeks. The building, which includes 12 electric vehicle charging points amongst its 655 parking spaces, helps free up space to allow for the future expansion on the rest of the hospital site, including a larger accident and emergency department. Whilst there are no dedicated disabled spaces in the multi-storey car park, there is a new large disabled parking area closer to the main hospital entrance, in addition to other disabled spaces by the other wings. When patients and visitors drive into the hospital site, they will take a ticket from one of the barriers and it will lift. The system has number plate recognition software which will note your registration as you enter. Before leaving the site, drivers can pay for the time they've been parked at the new payment stations with cash or card. The barrier will then lift automatically as you drive out. Drivers who are dropping off and picking up patients should still take a ticket, but will not need to pay if on site less than 20 minutes. Blue badge holders can still park for free in the new dedicated disabled parking area in the front of North Wing or at any of the disabled spaces near the other main entrances. Blue badge holders should still take a ticket on entering the site, but don't need to visit a payment machine before they leave. They will just be able to scan their blue badge at the barrier on the way out, so it lifts and they're not charged. There we go, that's just a little update on the new multi-storey car park at Dorset County Hospital in Dorset, and hopefully it's going to mean that everybody can now park at the hospital. I mean, I'm sure most of you that visited hospitals, whatever hospital you go to, there is always a high demand for parking, and let's hope that this new arrangement at Dorset means that it's much easier for people to park at the hospital. And certainly the investment in the hospital is very, very welcome, and all the work's being done on accident and emergency. Now, moving on, yesterday evening I was pleased to get a phone call to ask me to go and do a visit and do an interview this afternoon that I hadn't planned for, so I've got an extra report for you today, and it's from one of those organisations that we do mention quite often. And you might say, why do we mention them so often? Well, that's because they're incredibly active. You know, we're quite happy to mention other organisations if they're active and doing things. All they need to do is drop us an email at news@whiteregis.tv, and we'll be happy to come and talk to them as well. But this week I went out to visit MV Freedom once again, and I was pleased to hear that some local cyclists have decided to undertake a fantastic cycle challenge to raise some much needed funds for MV Freedom. So I popped down to Weymouth Harbour late this afternoon, and I've cobbled this report together rather quickly, so I hope it's going to work okay, to let you know about this challenge and give you the opportunity to support these cyclists in their fundraising efforts. So good afternoon, we're here on the harbour side in Weymouth in front of the boat MV Freedom, which is one of those wonderful local charities, and I'm joined by two groups of people. First of all, the volunteers from MV Freedom, and also a bunch of cyclists. So first of all, we'll speak to Meredy from MV Freedom. Now, running MV Freedom each year costs a lot of money, doesn't it, Meredy?
It does indeed. It's totally charity run, and we have to raise all our funds through very kind local people and others that give graciously. Thank goodness they do give, because our expenses are going up and up and up with the fuel costs at the moment, and our harbour fees and insurances particularly are extremely high. So we need to raise at least 20 to 30,000 a year.
And that's all from people kindly giving to keep the boat running, to fund the fuel, the harbour fees, and of course all your people give their time free of charge as well.
Absolutely, nobody gets paid. We all volunteer hours and hours, which is great, and we love doing.
So I guess when people come along and volunteer to help you raise some money, you are really, really pleased.
We are more than pleased. We are overjoyed that people actually think about us, and you know, we hope that we can give back with the information that we have, and it's just amazing who does come forward and why they come forward.
Okay, so the other group of people we've got here this afternoon is Ridgeway Riders, a local cycling group, and you can guess which ones they are because they're all in the bright clothing. And Craig is going to tell us on behalf of Ridgeway Riders why they're supporting MV Freedom, first of all, what they're going to do, and how members of the public can actually support what they're doing and actually give some money, most importantly. So Craig, tell us what you're going to do and why you're doing it.
We're a local cycling club, and we think that the MV Freedom is such a deserving local charity that does so much for local people and disabled people as well. And we're setting off on this challenge, which is to ride from the Atlantic to the Mediterranean through the Pyrenees, taking in quite a lot of the Tour de France mountains and things like that. So quite a challenge for us. We're all over 50, and the challenge itself was for Mark's 50th birthday, and he's about 57 now after the pandemic. So hopefully we'll get through that, and obviously we wanted to support such a good local charity, and we'll be setting up a fundraising page linked to the MV Freedom's website page, and then we'll be distributing that. We've also got our own Ridgeway Riders website, so if you look on there you'll find us, and we're on Facebook as well. Anybody who'd like to join us, everyone's welcome. It's a friendly local club for local people.
And how many sort of miles is it you're actually doing? It sounds quite a long way to me.
It is quite a long way, yeah. We've got 5 days worth, a couple of 100-milers, a 90-80, and finishing on a 45. But it's the amount of climbing, really, that's the biggest issue. The biggest thing we're doing is the Col de Tourmalet, which people will probably remember from the Tour de France, which goes over 2,000 metres, 6,000 feet. So that's 12 miles of climbing, as part of one day, really, because we've got another mountain that day as well. So that'll be our biggest challenge, really. So
I think the message is that these guys are volunteering to do this for a wonderful local charity. It's not just a straightforward little afternoon bike ride. It's quite a long distance, and it's up some big steep hills or mountains and back down. So they really do want your support. So do go onto the MV Freedom website, Facebook page, and when the link's up there, do give generously, both to support the wonderful work the guys from Ridgeway Riders are doing, and of course to keep MV Freedom running and doing the wonderful work it does for getting people with disabilities out on the sea. There we go. That was me this afternoon on Weymouth Harbour in front of MV Freedom with the Ridgeway Riders and some of the volunteers from MV Freedom. And these guys are setting off, I think it's next Sunday they're setting off, and they're doing, I think it's 500 or 600 miles, and it's up and down mountains in the Pyrenees. And they're doing this for fun, but also to raise some vital funds for a local charity. So I do hope that you will be able to support them, either by going to the ridgewayriders.co.uk website or mvfreedom.co.uk website, or either of the organisation's Facebook pages. And certainly over the weekend, hopefully those links to give to their fundraising efforts will be up and running. And we will keep you posted. Hopefully when they get back, we'll get the chance to go and have a chat with them and see how they got on. So thank you to them. Right, we come to that part of the programme now where we go over to our regular contributor Andrew Wright for this week's film review and preview.
Welcome to Wyke Regis TV Film Review and Preview. I'm Andrew Wright. Today is National Cinema Day, where cinemas are offering £3 movie tickets all day. There's still time to squeeze in a movie or two if your local cinema is participating. Cinema chain Cineworld has confirmed they are participating in the event. The US chain of Cineworld cinemas are preparing to file for bankruptcy, but UK chains are not and are still open for business as usual. This weekend marks the UK release of George Miller's 3,000 Years of Longing. The film is a fantasy film from Australian filmmaker George Miller, best known for his work on the Mad Max franchise, and stars British actors Tilda Swinton and Idris Elba. The film revolves around Elba's character, who is a mythical creature known as a djinn, who gets freed by a professor and ends up recounting his life to her. The film has received mostly positive reviews from critics who admire the film's ambition, but feel that the story is outshone by its visual effects. This weekend, an extended cut of the MCU film Spider-Man No Way Home, subtitled The More Fun Stuff version, is released in cinemas. This new release celebrates 60 years of Spider-Man in comics and 20 years of Spider-Man in film. The extended cut features 11 extra minutes of additional and deleted scenes, which are predominantly advertised to feature Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's versions of Spider-Man, as well as Charlie Cox's Matt Murdock, who briefly cameoed in the theatrical release, plus a deleted scene featuring a cameo from lead actor Tom Holland's brother. The marketing campaign for the extended cut has been met with more praise than the campaign for the theatrical release, as the extended cut campaign takes advantage of advertising character appearances that were kept secret leading up to the theatrical release due to Marvel's intense secrecy policies, even though the fans knew about those appearances in advance. The More Fun Stuff version is in cinemas this weekend, but availability may be limited, so keep that in mind. The second annual Disney Plus Day is next week on September 8th, and as usual, Disney are celebrating with a slew of new and anticipated releases. Some highly anticipated new releases include the Disney Plus release of Marvel Studios' Thor: Love and Thunder, the live-action Pinocchio film from Robert Zemeckis starring Tom Hanks, as well as the premiere of the Pixar series Cars on the Road, a companion series to the film trilogy. Behind-the-scenes specials on Thor: Love and Thunder and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and new episodes of Disney Plus original series She-Hulk and Welcome to Wrexham. Be sure to check out this new slate of releases, especially Thor, as the Disney Plus version comes with an IMAX version. That's all I have for this week, but be sure to check back next week where I will review the first episodes of Lord of the Rings: The Rings of Power. Now back to Gary in the studio.
Thank you very much there, Andrew, for this week's film review and preview. We come to that part of the programme now, where it's time to go over to the Met Office for the national weather forecast. And I think we're joined this week by Alex Deakin, but I didn't check. So here we go. Hopefully it's Alex Deakin.
Welcome to your latest national weather update from the Met Office. It's a mixed picture this weekend. Broadly speaking, sunshine and showers, but for some there'll be heavy downpours, there'll be strong winds as well. But when the sun is out, it'll still feel quite warm. Here's the reason for this mixed weather. A low pressure system just churning away out to the west of Ireland, and around that it'll throw weather fronts our way. This low won't just dominate our weather through the weekend, but well into next week as well. Wind. Let's zoom in though and talk about that warning. Met Office yellow warning in place covering all of Saturday. We could see 30 to 40 millimetres of rain falling in just a few hours. By the end of the day, those rainfall totals across parts of western Scotland may tot up close to 100 millimetres of rain. That kind of rainfall could cause a few issues. Certainly a lot of spray and surface water on the roads if you're travelling in this part of the world during Saturday. Just bear that in mind. Allow a bit of extra time for your journey. Stuck under that rain band, it'll struggle to get a much above 16, 17, 18 degrees, but it is quite warm and humid air, so still feeling quite sticky in the sunny spells across the eastern areas of England. Temperatures again getting into the mid or even high 20s in places. Feeling cooler with that brisk wind across the far northeast. During Saturday evening, we'll see further pulses of rain coming up from the southwest and spreading across Scotland as well. Could turn quite heavy, this rain, as we head into Sunday, once more for Northern Ireland. But it should clear through during Sunday, so a bit brighter come Sunday afternoon. Same goes for Wales, brightening up here through the day. Further outbreaks of rain likely across much of Scotland, although, again, the Northern Isles likely to stay dry with sunny spells. And again, across eastern parts of England, showers here few and far between. Could see some heavy ones, certainly late in the day, but most of the day will be dry. And of course, it's these eastern areas where we haven't seen much rain through the summer. We could do with a downpour or two. The breeze, again, noticeable across the southwest and across the far northeast. Again, temperatures generally a little bit above average, particularly where we see some sunshine. We'll see temperatures maybe getting into the mid-20s, say, across East Anglia. So, as I said, plenty going on as we go through this weekend. Keep up to date with the latest forecast. Those warnings are on the app and, of course, on our website. And even into next week, more heavy downpours to come. So make sure you're following us right across social media.
Thank you very much there, Alex, for the national weather forecast. And looking at our local weather for this week, oh dear, we've got some drips of rain coming. Well, it's oh dear in one respect, but it will be very welcome in many other respects for the garden. So it looks like we might get rain almost every day this coming week. But of course, down here on the south coast, you can never be sure, because although the weather forecasts come out, they don't always reflect what actually happens. But it's going to be a mild week. Looks like some possible periods of heavy rain, maybe a thunderstorm on Monday. But we will wait and see. Now, moving to the What's On section this week, coming up at Weymouth Pavilion. 8th of September, Bournemouth Symphony Orchestra, Symphonic Gems. 9th of September, Ben Portsmouth, The King is Back, that's an Elvis tribute. 11th of September, Hello Again, The Story of Neil Diamond. 15th of September, The Drifters. 20th of September is the Ocean Film Festival. 23rd of September is the Sort of Guitar Heroes. I don't know if I've written that down right, but it's something about Guitar Heroes. It's an evening with electric guitars and electric guitar music, I think, if I remember. 24th of September, The Name of Love. It's the Diana Ross story. 29th of September, What's Love Got to Do with It? That's a Tina Turner tribute act. Now, of course, as ever, if you want more details on those or to book some tickets, you can go to the Weymouth Pavilion website at weymouthpavilion.com, or you can telephone box office on 01305 783 225. That's 01305 783 225. Turning to the Knowth Fort. 4th of September is the Triumph Classic Car Rally at the Knowth Fort. 10th of September is Porsche in the Fort. That's a collection of Porsche cars there on the 10th of September. 23rd of September, Heart of Stone. It's an outdoor theatre tour show for all ages at the Fort. And the 15th of September is that Pause for Thought event that we keep mentioning, the dog show from the Dog Friendly Social and Watercombe Dogs. And also, what else have I got down here? Oh, right, okay, yeah, one other thing. Friday the 16th of November, if you like quiz nights, we've got a quiz night coming up in Wyke, but this is a quiz night for MV Freedom again here at Weymouth Golf Club at 7 p.m. on Friday the 16th of September. It's teams of 6. I think it's £2 per person. There is a raffle as well. If you want tickets, can you please call Meredy on 07974 266 867. That's 07974 266 867. That's Friday the 16th of September. Quiz night for MV Freedom at Weymouth Golf Club starting at 7 o'clock. Now, we've mentioned Arts Reach over several weeks, and particularly their 12th night outdoor theatre experience that they've been doing. The last date for that is Tuesday the 20th of September, 6:30 p.m. at Springhead Gardens, Fontwell Magna near Shaftesbury. Tickets are available from 01747 811 853. The gardens are open for 5:30. The running time is about 2 hours plus the interval. It's an outdoor event, so definitely bring a warm top, maybe bring a brolly or a coat and a chair to sit on. So that's all of the events we've got coming up. Regular church services tomorrow, 8 o'clock at All Saints Church Communion service. As it's the first of the month, the Sunday morning main service is a family-friendly cafe church style service at 9:45, and of course at 11 o'clock there will be a service at St Edmunds. Now, of course, our other programmes, our quiz is on tonight at 7:30. The stream will go live at 7:15. Everyone's welcome to join that. And we're running the mid-August episode of A Year Gardening from Clive Gray. The first time tomorrow at 4 o'clock, Sunday at 4 o'clock, and that will be repeated Friday at 7 p.m. And then in a week or so's time we will get the September version of that as well. Always really good for tips in the garden, not just on things that we should be doing this time of year, but problems for the garden and ideas for projects and things that you can build and make for the garden as well. And so do watch Clive's programme. I always find them very, very interesting and give me lots of tips for our garden here at home. Now, looking at traffic and travel for the weekend and for the week ahead. Of course, this weekend is a Dorchester show, so the roads around Dorchester, particularly out on the bypass, will be very, very busy as people go to the show and from the show, and of course when they start to leave and break down the show after tomorrow night, then it could be quite busy there. Notified roadworks this week: Barrow Rise, Sandpiper Way, Netherton Road, Chickle Road, Elsevier Close, Grove Avenue, Radipole Park Drive, Roman Road, Mercery Road, St Andrews Avenue, Grove Avenue and Nightingale Drive, and on Portland, Victoria Road, Straits, Park Road, Avalanche Road and Harbour View Road. Turning to rail travel, there's no advanced warnings of any engineering work affecting services from Weymouth, other than that reduced timetable from South Western trains we mentioned to deal with some of those places where the banks have moved and cracked due to the extreme hot weather. As ever with rail travel, I think at the moment it's definitely worth checking before travelling to make sure that your planned trains are running and they're running at the times that you expect them to run. Now that brings us to the end of another Saturday night news programme. Don't forget, we do really want to hear from you if you're doing any fundraising events or any events or shows or quizzes or anything like that. We want to hear about your local news as well. We are available 24/7 by dropping an email to news@wykeregis.tv. We will get back to you, and if you want us to come and interview you, we'll be happy to come and do that and to cover you and your organisation or charity on one of our future versions of our programme. Well, other than that, it's time for me to say good night and to say I look forward to being with you next Saturday at 6 o'clock. Don't forget our quiz this evening if there's nothing much on TV for you. And have a good weekend. And don't forget to take a coat or a brolly if you're going out, because it looks like it could well be changeable this weekend and for the week ahead. Good night.